I covered the cost for my mother-in-law's brand new condominium, took care of all the documentation, furnished the space, and made certain she had everything required. About a week later, I ended up overhearing her boasting to her friends. She called me a clueless son-in-law who was too dim to realize they were scheming to swindle me. Their plan was to move in with my wife and daughter and basically take my home right out from under me. She labeled me a loser, laughed over how effortlessly she could manipulate me, and even insulted my family behind my back. I kept my cool and just smiled. That was a month ago. Yesterday, my wife and her mum sent me a joint message. Please answer her. I've never posted here before, but I need to share this because I honestly don't know if I'm reading things right. It feels like I'm stuck in some bad sitcom, except there's nothing funny about it. I'm not sure if anyone else here has experienced this level of crazy in-law issues, but here's a quick rundown. I'm Bryce, 31 years old, married to Tegan. We've been together almost 7 years with no kids, which is its own topic, huh? Family nags about every time we meet. Tegan's mum, Teresa, is a certain kind of person, the type who tries to center every situation around herself. She always acts like she's doing you a favor by accepting your assistance. I thought that was just her style. Turns out, I was mistaken. It began very subtly. Back in December, Teresa's lease was ending, and she made a huge fuss about how tough the rental market was, claiming she didn't want to wind up stuck in some depressing little place. Tegan was her only child and had always been totally wrapped around her mum's little finger. So naturally, the conversation turned to helping out. I wasn't thrilled about the idea, to be honest, but Tegan was stressed, and I figured it was manageable, so I put in real effort, looking at apartments, handling paperwork, driving Teresa around to viewings. She nitpicked every minor detail. One place had cheap light switches, another smelled weird. She finally agreed on a location just because it was near friends she hangs with during her wine nights. Here's where it gets really ridiculous. I outright covered the down payment, completed all the contracts, moved her in. I bought her a decent mattress, a desk, set up her internet, and assembled shelves while she scrolled Facebook upstairs. I kept thinking to myself, why am I going above and beyond for someone who once told me my family was nice, but painfully boring? She said it to my face, laughed, claimed she was joking. Maybe she was. Maybe not. We wrapped up the move-in, and for about a week, she acted very sweet, bringing muffins over, sending me texts, thanking me and calling me a lifesaver. But it all felt insincere. Tegan kept saying, see? She just needed support. I tried to believe it, but things just felt off. The first odd sign came last Thursday during a pizza night at our place. Teresa was there and suddenly said to Tegan, once you're settled, we'll have to fix up your place's decor too. I said, our place is fine. Tegan laughed it off, but I noticed she looked uneasy. Friday, Teresa messaged me around noon saying she forgot some insurance papers at her condo and asked if I could swing by after work and drop them off. I agreed. No problem. It was on my way. When I arrived, I heard loud music coming from upstairs. As I was about to ring the bell, I caught part of her phone conversation on speaker. She was chatting with friends, and it echoed down the hallway. I heard her say, he's so gullible. Swear he bought me this place, does whatever Tegan says, and he has no clue we're planning to take the house too. Everyone laughed. Then one friend commented, he's lucky you even bothered pretending to like him. Teresa replied, he's a loser but useful. These guys want to feel needed. Just let them think they're in control. She mocked my family too. My mum's polite Midwest manners, my dad's corny jokes, and bragged about how easy it was to get what you want by pretending to be helpless around men like me. I stood there holding the envelope, feeling like I'd been hit hard, but also completely stunned. My mind went blank. I didn't confront her, just turned around and got in my car. I called my brother Dwayne and said, I think I just overheard Teresa scheming to screw me over. He laughed, thinking I was joking at first, but after I repeated her words, he went quiet. I went home and didn't say a word because I needed time to process. I know how this sounds, and I'm sure people will say, talk to your wife. I wanted to be sure before starting a huge fight. That night, I tested the waters and said to Tegan, your mum's cooking up some big plans, huh? She got strange, insisted she was joking, but wouldn't meet my eyes. Since then, I can't stop noticing little things. Tegan asking questions about the mortgage, about what if something happens, whether it'd be simpler if the deed were joint, stuff she's never cared about before. Teresa texts Tegan way more than me. When I ask why, Tegan says, it's nothing, I'm not naive. I know when I'm being sized up. Worst part? I think Teresa has always looked down on me and often made snide remarks about ambition and doing better for her daughter. Guess she thought I'd never hear her real feelings. So now I'm just observing, not speaking to Teresa, just playing along but protecting myself, locking down my accounts, not leaving papers lying around. I'm not going to be her doormat anymore. Haven't told my parents yet, but I texted my dad. Remind me to call you tomorrow. Things are weird. He'll probably think I'm overreacting. I understand this isn't a movie, but I'm done letting myself be made a fool of. Teresa wants to mess around? Fine, I'm ready to play. I won't let her or anyone else disrespect me in my own home. Next steps? Haven't figured it out yet, but I'm not just waiting. If she wants a fight, she's picked the wrong person. Yeah, I know this sounds insane, but trust me, it's only getting started. Update 1. Back with part 2. Honestly, if you told me I'd be playing a 4-day game of chess with my own family this year, I'd have laughed. But here we are. After that night, I started noticing small changes. Not massive, just little shifts. For example, Tegan began putting mail in her purse instead of leaving it on the kitchen table. When I asked why, she said she didn't want to misplace it, which was odd because she never cared before. Then Teresa started dropping by unannounced, sometimes at strange hours, like Tuesday at 11 a.m., just to grab her scarf, but always wanted to come inside and speak with Tegan in the bedroom with the door shut. I'm not dumb, so I started jotting down notes on my phone. Times, conversations, behaviors. Whenever I suspected something was missing, I started locking the file, cabinet in the bedroom, and kept the key on me. Paranoid? Probably. But after what I overheard, I'm not giving them an inch. One evening, I was on the couch, and Tegan's phone lit up while she was in the shower. I saw a text from Teresa. So, have you talked to him about those forms yet? I don't snoop, but that stuck with me. So I began asking more questions at dinner, just to watch Tegan's reactions. Every time she got defensive, saying it was just insurance stuff, not a big deal, nothing I needed to worry about. One day, Teresa called me while I was grocery shopping, saying she'd locked herself out and needed me to bring the spare key. I said okay, but when I got there, she was already inside, likely just testing how fast I'd respond. She laughed it off, but it wasn't funny. Then she started pushing the idea that I should give Tegan a set of keys for emergencies. I told her I was fine and didn't need anyone else having keys. She shrugged and muttered something about trust and family. Then the money drama began. Tegan told me Teresa needed extra grocery money and asked if she could move funds from our savings. I asked what happened to her usual grocery budget. Tegan said there was some surprise bill. When I checked, I found numerous small transfers for errands, cleaning, and miscellaneous all going to Teresa. I confronted Tegan about it. She acted surprised but was a terrible liar. I set up alerts on my bank app to notify me of any transfers. I asked Dwayne if I was being paranoid. He said, "Trust your instincts, but don't go nuclear without proof." So I started collecting evidence, screenshots of Teresa asking for money, photos of receipts, even a recorded conversation in my own home, legal where I live. I messaged my dad that if Teresa called strangely, to let me know. He just sent us thumbs up, not much help, but whatever. Then came a family meeting. Tegan said her mum wanted to talk about future plans and possibly streamline finances. I agreed to meet at Teresa's condo. Teresa was polite, sitting me down with papers about emergency contacts, power of attorney, and all that. She claimed it was just precautionary, but the paperwork basically made Tegan a joint owner with full rights if I became incapacitated. I didn't sign. I told them I'd consider it. Teresa got annoyed, slammed her hand on the table and snapped, "Don't I trust my own wife?" I told her, "Yes, but I trust myself to read what I'm signing." She called me stubborn, then stormed off, slamming the bedroom door. Tegan tried to calm things down, saying her mum was just nervous about the future, but I wasn't convinced. I told Tegan, "We're not signing anything unless both of us agree, and if this is about security, we can hire a lawyer." She got angry, said I was making her choose between me and her mom. I said, "I'm just trying to protect us." She left to call her mom, and they left together. The next day, I went to the condo, changed the Wi-Fi password, and told Teresa I needed to do maintenance. I took pictures of everything, furniture, valuables, everything. I started getting calls from her friends, asking why I was acting paranoid. Someone must have ratted me out. So I invited them both over to our place to keep things transparent. I laid the bank statements and condo papers on the table, copies only. I was clear, the condo and house are in my name. The money comes from my accounts. I'm not adding anyone. If they had questions, ask now. Teresa's face flushed. She tried to guilt-trip me, saying she sacrificed everything for Tegan and deserved security. I reminded her she had a condo, fully furnished and paid for. She said that wasn't enough and tried to grab the folder. I pulled it back. She reached for my arm. I stepped away and told her not to touch me. She slammed her chair against the wall and stormed out. Tegan followed, yelling that I was ruining everything, then slammed the door. I texted Dwayne, "Pretty sure I just started World War III. He sent back laughing emojis. Now it's basically a cold war at home. Tegan barely speaks to me except about bills. Teresa's blowing up my phone, but I ignore her. She suddenly started posting a lot of family is everything stuff on Facebook, which is ironic coming from her. I don't know what their next move is, but I'm not sitting around waiting. I moved all valuables to my parents' place, changed passwords, and started keeping receipts for everything. I know I probably look like an overcautious nut, but I refuse to be blindsided again. Teresa treats me like I'm a pushover she can control. Anyone who refuses to bow to her gets treated like dirt. It's never been about money, really. It's about control. I'm done being polite. Next time they try something, I won't hold back. I won't yell or throw stuff. I'll just make every move they make costly. I know this isn't over, but for the first time in a long time, I feel less powerless. I'll update if anything new happens. There's no way they're finished. Update 2. So, I'm back sooner than expected. It's crazy how fast things can go from awkward family dinners to a battle of who cracks first. They aren't even hiding it anymore. It's out in the open. If you expect some dramatic movie showdown, you won't get it. This is real life, and real people are dumber and more stubborn. Last week, while doing laundry and catching up on bills, I noticed all the kitchen chairs were stacked oddly. Not a big deal itself, but why? Turns out Teresa came over and rearranged things for better energy, her new obsession. She does this whenever she's annoyed, tries to move stuff around like she's boss. I quietly switched them back and didn't say a word. Then Tegan got jumpy about the condo. Asked if I'd paid utilities this month. I said yes. Asked why. She said her mum worried the Wi-Fi might get cut off. I assured her it was taken care of. She got huffy, talking about how her mom needs independence. I replied, if she wants independence, she can handle her own bills. She stormed out and messaged mom. Now Teresa messages me almost daily, asking for small favors, hanging curtains, rides to the pharmacy, checking her banking app because she forgot the password. I just say no. She gets mad, calls Tegan, who complains about me withholding support. I stopped hiding it. I told them both I'm done being an ATM. I began taking action. Cancelled all shared accounts and cards. Texted Tegan to say I'm moving my money to a new account. Told her she can have access to her own, but mine is mine. She argued marriage is about trust. I said, "You lost my trust when you started hiding stuff." She left the room for an hour. I started taking pictures of every piece of furniture and appliance at the condo, including stuff I bought for Teresa. Told her it was for insurance purposes. She asked if I planned to kick her out. I said, "If you don't like it, find another place." She tried to slap me, but I moved away. She called me ungrateful and sought sympathy from others. Texting my dad, calling my brother. My dad just said, "Don't drag me into this." Dwayne laughed and said, "She finally got her comeuppance." Then random relatives started calling. One cousin said, "Teresa says you're making her homeless." I said, "She has a place. I bought it. She can manage." Cousin asked if I'm okay. I said, "Just tired of being taken advantage of." Tegan and Teresa started showing up together, going through my things. I told them not to touch my stuff. Teresa got mad, pushed a folder off the table. I warned her if anything broke, she'd pay for it. She argued she was being aggressive. I said I was setting boundaries. She grabbed her purse and slammed the door. Tegan stayed, but refused to look at me. Then condo drama deepened. I scheduled showings and told Teresa I might sell if it got too costly. She freaked out, called Tegan saying I was threatening her security. I told them I'm just doing what's necessary. Teresa's friends began messaging me from unknown numbers, calling me a terrible husband ruining Tegan's life. I took screenshots and sent them to Dwayne and we laughed. I forwarded some recordings of Teresa bad-mouthing our family to our group chat. No one defended her. One night, Teresa showed up screaming, pounding on my door, accusing me of ruining her. I told her she wasn't coming in. She tried pushing past me, slapped my chest, but I didn't react. She left yelling about how I'm abusive. I didn't care. Tegan tried to get me to talk. I told her she could stay, but if she kept siding with her mum, she could go live there. She said I was making her choose. I said, "You made your choice when you lied." She slammed the door and didn't come out all night. Next morning, the kitchen was a mess. Cabinets open, stuff everywhere. I went to the condo and changed the locks again. Texted Teresa she wasn't welcome at my house without permission. She freaked and spammed Tegan with messages. Tegan ignored me all day. Now I'm living like I'm single. Honestly, I don't trust either of them, and I'm bracing for whatever comes next. For those telling me to forgive and forget, nope, that's not happening. Teresa acts like she's smarter than everyone else because no one's ever told her no. But that ends now. I'm ready for whatever's next. I'm not afraid of conflict anymore. Not after everything they tried. You can only get hit so many times before you start fighting back. I'll update if anything major occurs. I'm not going anywhere and neither is my home. Let's see who breaks first. Final update. I think this is it for updates. Don't really know what else to say now. I thought the surprises were over, but the way this wrapped up is stranger than I expected. No drama, just real and kind of bleak, but I'm good with it. The first thing I noticed was how quiet it got. After months of daily madness, suddenly no more group texts, no random knocking on the door, even cousins stopped checking in. Tegan's sleeping in the guest room now, acting like I'm some kind of tyrant for locking everything down. She's always on her phone, whispering to her mom or scrolling Facebook groups about starting fresh. I've been doing my own thing. Gym, work, takeout in front of the TV with earbuds. Then out of nowhere, I get mail addressed to Teresa at my house. She's sending her official stuff here now. I text Tegan asking why. She says it's temporary because her mum is relocating stuff around. I told her to fix it or I'd start sending everything back to her. She didn't reply, just slammed the bathroom door. It really hit a breaking point when I began getting bills for the condo, utilities, cleaning, even a repair for a broken window. I texted Teresa saying she owed me for it all. She said she thought I'd cover it since I own the place. I reminded her she lives there rent-free and should pay her own bills or leave. She called me cruel. I said, "Call it what you want. Family helps family," she said. I replied, "Family doesn't scheme to rob you." Hung up. I went nuclear, listed the condo for rent on Zillow, sent Teresa an official 30-day eviction notice and changed the locks. She called Tegan, who tried confronting me. "You can't just kick my mum out." I said, "It's my condo. She's not paying. She's out. If you want to go with her, go ahead." Tegan packed a bag, went to the condo, then came back that night staring at me like I was a stranger. Kept saying, "How could you do this? You're ruining everything. You're not the man I married." I just shrugged and said, "Maybe you never really knew me." She pushed me and went into the bedroom. The next week was a blur. I focused on clearing my stuff, keeping things neutral with Tegan, but mostly avoiding her. She tried guilt, yelling, crying. Nothing worked. Once she grabbed my phone and tried scrolling through messages. I snatched it back and said, "Don't touch my stuff." She slapped my arm and said I was being mean. I said, "I'm being smart." Teresa tried to have friends call me begging for patience. I told them no. Texted Teresa, "You have 2 weeks, then you're out, or your stuff is on the street." She called me heartless. I said, "Call it what you want." Dad texted, "You sure about this?" I said yes. He said, "All right, just don't do anything illegal." Dwayne sent me a popcorn meme, said, "Can't wait to see what happens." Moving day arrived. Teresa cried, played the victim. Tegan showed up early, yelling that I was abandoning family. I said, "You have a new place. Figure it out." Teresa tried to hug me. I stepped back. She tried slapping me. I didn't react. She muttered, "You'll regret this," slammed the door as she left. I cleaned the condo, began lining up showings, and texted Teresa, "Your mail is at the front desk. Don't come to my house." She called. I ignored and blocked her on my phone. Tegan came by the next day, told her over the ring cam to text if it was important. She left quietly. Since then, it's just been quiet. Group chats dead, family checking in with normal stuff, gym, games, hanging with Dwayne, trying to feel normal again. Last night, I got 2 texts, one from Tegan, one from Teresa, both saying, "Please answer, her." Looked at my phone, laughed, and put it down. No reply. No interest in whatever plan they're cooking up now. Some might say I should reconcile, or that I'm too cold now. Honestly, I'm just exhausted. Did everything for them, and they revealed who they really are. Not mad anymore, just done. I don't wish them harm or good, just want my life back. If you ever feel like you're being manipulated, don't wait around for a savior. Make your own moves. I'm no hero. I just finally stopped letting others write my story. Thanks to anyone who read this far.